Hello Super Studs, this is Griff Joyce with M2A here with another top 5 list. Ways you can beat your opponents. A great way to beat your opponents is to simply work harder than them. Now I know this sounds simple. I mean, we all agree to work hard in the beginning of the game. But it's amazing what fatigue, both mental and physical, can do to somebody as they're in a competition. Now the trick is to make sure that you are willing to continue to work hard deep into a game more so than your opponent. Because any advantages you already had on them become accentuated as you maintain the same level of hard work and theirs starts to drop off. Think of the power that you have by correctly pacing yourself throughout the course of a competition when an opponent doesn't. Or being able to kick into high gear towards the end of that competition if they can't. So again, you can't really control how tall you are, how fast you are. You can kind of control how good you are in some ways, but how good you stay late in the game can very often depend on how hard you're willing to work. Again, simply being able to continue to work harder than your opponents will put you in a place where you can succeed. A great way to be able to beat your opponents is to simply learn faster than they do. Now, we all go to practice with our coaches in our various sports specifically to get better at what we do. Now, everybody's supposed to be getting better, but we don't all run the same speed, we don't all jump the same height, we aren't all the same amount of tall, the same amount of strong. And so logically speaking, you would think that we don't all learn at the same speed. Now this is how, as you get older, you'll find that some people you never even heard of will come on late in their high school career, maybe junior or senior year, as superstars, and you'll wonder where they came from. Well, they're probably athletically gifted, but they probably had the invisible skill of learning very quickly. Now there's a lot of ways to learn very quickly, but the point is, if you focus on it and try intentionally to learn things as quickly as you can and incorporate them into your game, that is a way that you can beat your opponents over time. So, while you're in practice and your coach is talking, pay close attention. While you're taking your own reps outside of practice, focus hard. Do everything you can to learn as fast as you possibly can to gain all the advantages you can possibly imagine over your opponents. A great way to beat your opponents is to be more positive and hopeful than they are. It's really easy to have things go not well for you during the course of a competition. I mean, nobody has a perfect life, right? So we're all going to encounter obstacles and challenges. When those obstacles and challenges come up, how do you respond to those? How does your team respond to those? Well, that's actually a choice that you can make. A lot of people are really good at seeing the world as being against them and kind of getting on the bandwagon of, oh, it's not going to work out, so now I get bummed and I don't try as hard, and it spreads to my team and kind of becomes a nightmare for the day, maybe the week, or a portion of the season. I would wish for you that you would avoid that. Simply being hopeful and positive can have a great and dramatic impact on you and your team. It allows a whole lot more fun to be had and a whole lot more winning to be had in the end. Hopeful is a wonderful word to describe an athlete, and positive is even better. A great way to beat your opponents is if you play in a team situation to simply keep your team a team longer. We've all been in situations where the team starts to fracture a bit, whether it's because of conflicting personalities or a disagreement about how you want to play offense or defense or a way that you want to go about beating a certain opponent. Teams don't always agree. They don't always see eye to eye. Now that doesn't mean you have to stop acting like a team though. You can be mature about disagreements. You can be mature about differences of opinion and still have a unified vision of how you're going to go do things. Whether you like every single strategy used by your coach, doesn't matter. What matters is that your team picks one, goes with it, and chooses that as one singular unit. Other teams will have challenges as well. They're invisible challenges. You're not there to see what they are, but trust me, all teams have them. As they are human and have their desire for their opinion to be known and held, let them fracture. You'll be able to beat other teams more easily and the individuals on them if you stay a team longer. A great way to beat your opponents is to defend better than they do. As a matter of fact, I'd say defend better than anyone should be your goal. When you're playing a sport that requires an offense and a defense, the ability to stop the other team does more than just cease their scoring or slow it down. It frustrates them. And if teams are used to scoring a certain amount of points and you can keep them below their running average, that gets really frustrating. And then you've changed the equation. Adding frustration to another team's plate of things to think about can be very powerful for the end result of your competition. And by the way, knowing that you have the ability to frustrate another team is just a giggler and tons of fun for your team and you personally. And so defending better than anybody, while it's not the most glamorous thing to do, it's a lot of hard work for not a ton of reward compared to the offensive side of whatever you do, I would consider it. Defend better than anyone. Have you ever gone out of your way to put a lot of extra effort into defense in a particular competition? And so what do you think of this week's list? Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, make sure you continue to think straight and stay focused so that you can achieve your goals.